everyone, it's Sheila and welcome to another episode of PJs and Coffee Time. Today's video, I don't have a pretty background. I'm actually just sitting on my love seat. I'm sipping on yesterday's coffee. It is a Starbucks caramel macchiato with non-fat and an extra shot. I had ordered this actually late last night, really early this morning, and I reheated it when I woke up to enjoy it today. So yeah, it's kind of getting cold now because I've tried to record this video several times and for the life of me can't seem to get it out. There's no tip of the day today. I just want to sit here and I want to talk a little bit. The song that you just heard a portion of is something I want to share with you all and talk to you all about. I'm definitely dealing with something right now that I know that if I'm dealing with it, there's probably a million other people out there dealing with it. And I don't have the answers. I'm being very honest. This isn't where I'm going to sit here in front of the camera and I'm going to tell you that this is how you do it and this is how you get over it and this is how you handle it and this will make everything better, because right now I'm sitting here without any answers, without any knowledge of knowing how to deal with this. So I'm going to be asking for your help. I'm going to ask for you to extend your knowledge to me, share your thoughts and your concerns, and maybe help me to get through this little bit of a thing that I'm going through. I'm going to share a little bit about myself, and some of you probably already know this. I don't know. I mean, some of you might say it's pretty obvious or whatever. I don't know, but I'm a very giving person. I am a very loving person. I'm a very accepting person. And, you know, one of the things that I say on my channel all the time is you do you, boo. I never judge. I always say, you know, everyone is an individual and they didn't need to be loved and respected for the individual that they are. And I live by those words, and I will never ever deter from that. I truly from the bottom of my heart believe that. But to my default, because I am that way, I feel that more oftentimes than not, I'm taken advantage of. People expect me to just be in acceptance of them being themselves, but they're not necessarily willing to accept me being myself. And a lot of it is because I come across, I generally give before I ask to receive, and very few times do I even ask to receive. You can say you want to do this and I'll say okay. I tend to not say I don't want to do it, or if I ask you to do something with me and you say no, I tend to just okay, and I just go do my thing. I don't demand that you acknowledge me for being myself. I don't demand that. And when I'm saying you, I'm not talking to you all like as in my subscribers, so don't misunderstand that. I'm talking in general, like me as a person, and you know, like where I am and like my relationship, and you know, and how this is becoming a very serious issue. I have given and given and given, and I'm kind of to the point where I want to demand a little bit more of you coming to my side of the world for a change. I want to demand more of, you know, you have to be willing to see the side of me that I am. And even though it may not be your forte, you've got to be willing to compromise and say, you know what? You compromise for me to be myself. I'm going to compromise for you to be yourself. And I'm trying very hard to get to that point. When I was married to my first husband, I was the same way. I was very giving. I did a whole lot. I mean, I can remember so many different instances where people would literally like they would joke about it, but at the same time they were being so real, and how like I was just there. I was all gung-ho. I was like, you know, there was a joke that my son was going to be born on the flight line, because on Sundays at the base that we were stationed at, they would allow the soldiers that had souped up cars or whatever to use a portion of the flight line for their little drag strip, and they would allow them. They would have like little concessions out there, and it was a pretty cool little thing. But I would literally be out there, and I was out there up until the last possible minute of my pregnancy, and I would spend the entire Sunday out there walking around in the hot sun, like, you know, just being a part of something that I really could have cared less about. But because my husband loved it so much, I wanted to be there for him and be a part of that for him. And I remember when I started to kind of like realize that a lot of me was getting lost in that whole situation. And I think it was, you know, after having a child, and I, you know, as he got older, and I was realizing that, you know, meeting different people in the world, and like from different parts of the world, like, you know, and talking to them, I realized that, you know, I actually saw myself transform. I saw myself change into things that I, you know, I was like, wow, I actually like this. I wouldn't have never guessed that I would have liked this, you know, from meeting different people and seeing something that they like, and then I tried it and realized that, oh my gosh, this is something that I would love to do, or I enjoy doing. So I watched myself transform a little bit as well. So I became a new person. And in that, I remember one day saying that, you know, I want to make sure that I have a voice. I want to make sure that the me inside of me is acknowledged. And needless to say, the more I tried to be myself, the harder things got. While that wasn't a direct result of my divorce, but I did get a divorce, and part of it relied on the fact that it was very unaccepted. It was very unaccepted that I had a right to be who I am. And even though it might not be your norm, or because it was not your norm, it was not acceptable that I be myself. I had to be the myself that you chose for me to be. And even though, it's the funny thing about it is, you know, growing up, I can remember my mom being so much like that. And I remember saying, I will never be my mother. Because I used to get so angry, y'all. I used to get so angry at her. Because she was that person. She gave and gave and gave. She was forgiving. She was loving. She went along. She took one for the team every day of her life. She literally, if you said you wanted to go here, okay, she goes. I was my mom. And when my marriage ended, I vowed, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be that person. You know, if I get in another relationship, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to be the me in myself. Like I'm going to know who I am, and I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be strong, and I'm never going to let anybody take the me out of myself. I didn't. Whenever I did, those relationships didn't last. Because I found that, I guess maybe I was just picking the wrong kind of guy. I don't know. Like, whenever I became myself, then, you know, like when I demanded that I be myself, that's when things just went bad. So the relationships would end. I'm fighting it again right now. I'm struggling to be myself. I'm fighting for the me in myself. And it's not fair. It is not fair that I cannot proudly be the person that I am without being made fun of or looked at like I'm a weird individual, because I may not like everything that you like. I go along with a lot. I do a lot of accepting. I do a lot of compromising. But sometimes I get tired. I get really tired of just being that person to compromise over and over again. I would love to have someone look at me and say, you know what? You like to do blase, blase, blase. So you know what? I'm going to enjoy today just doing blase, blase, blase with you. Is that a crime to ask of someone? Is it wrong to say that you want someone to acknowledge the you inside of you? So is it okay for the artist to sing that song and say that to the person that he's singing it to, thanking them for allowing him to be himself, but not willing to allow the person that he's singing the song to be their selves? Does that make sense? Like, and I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with that big time right now. I am high demand, and I don't know if it's a menopausal thing. I don't know. I mean, I just know that the older I've gotten, I have just really felt strongly about being who I am. And you know, like, I remember sharing with you all that I was hiding YouTube, and I was, you know, I'm starting to be a lot more boisterous about YouTube. I will pull my camera out. I still have my moments, but because I was literally basically kind of like criticized for doing YouTube, and I thought that that had passed over, and then recently I realized that it hadn't, because something else got said to make me realize that it wasn't, that they still feel the same way about me doing this, that it's pretty much like I'm, you know, for lack of better words, like I'm, you know, like it's a waste of my time. So, you know, that really hurt, like way down inside, because I know that I'm very different. I've been different all my life. When I shared with you all how I grew up in my sister's shadow, and you know, I have a brother and a sister that graduated from college, and I don't have a college education. And that's been one of those things that I've secretly battled with for a very long time. I've had to really demand respect, and I've really had to teach myself that. I just want to share with you all that if you have someone out there, whether it's a best friend, a husband or wife, a girlfriend or boyfriend, I want you to take today, and I want you to look back over your relationship, over your friendship, and I want you to think about how you've made that other person feel. How, you know, have you always been fair to that other person and allowing that other person to just be themselves? And how willing are you to accept the person that they are? Are you the person that wants them to just be there for you and accept you and do the things that you want to do, go to places that you want to go, but you're not willing to meet them halfway? You're not willing to accept them for being who they are, that you don't want them to be the me inside of themselves? And if you are one of those people, I'm going to beg you to reevaluate, and I want you to stop and think about how you may make that other person feel. And especially if they're a person like me, I'm a giver. I have a need to make people happy. I will give my last time, like I will give my all just to make. Okay, sorry about that, my camera died. But yeah, so I do want to encourage, because this is something that is very real for me right now. I'm not accepted as the person I am for being myself. I am very often made to feel like the person that I am is, I don't want to say, I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm often made to feel like I shouldn't be who I am. That I should be someone else. It's not acceptable that I don't enjoy every single thing that others enjoy. And it's not fair to me. I do take responsibility for some of it though, because like I said, for the mother, for the part of me that's like my mother, that I never thought I would ever be, I am that way to the core. I give into people because I feel like that they're gonna give it back to me. And I started out by giving into them, only to find out that I'm not going to receive it back. And then I get to a point where I'm just like, you know what? Then the father in me steps out and I become angry. And I'm like, I put my foot down and I'm like, no, I want to be, I'm going to be who I am. And then that always causes problems. People, it turns into such a living nightmare. So it's very, very important that I share this with you all. I'm not a counselor. I'm not, I don't have any certificate that says that I'm allowed to sit in front of this camera and tell you anything other than I'm sharing with you my life. So if you can take anything from this today, look into your relationships, whether it's with your children, whether it's with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. And I want you to really, really think about how important it is to you in that relationship and to the other person in that relationship that each of you respect and acknowledge the person for being themselves. Make sure that you're not the person that say, I am going to be myself. And I thank you for allowing me to be myself. But you're not going to be able to be yourself without being ridiculed, made fun of, or downright looked down upon because you're being yourself don't meet up to my expectations, or it's not on the same level. You don't like the same music that I like. You don't like to go to the same places that I like, so you can't be yourself. You need to be who I am. Make sure that you're not that person. If you look into yourself and you see that you might be that person, make a change. You know what? Do a self-evaluate. Acknowledge the fact that your daughter, your son, your husband, your wife, like I said, whomever, that it is very crucial that we all as individuals, that we are able to be ourselves, that we should be able to like the things that we want to like, not like the things that we don't want to like, go places that we want to go, not go places that we don't want to go. Now, when we're talking like a husband and a wife situation or a boyfriend or girlfriend situation, there has to be an act of compromise because, the old saying, opposites attract. When that come into play, because you may have opposites that do attract to each other, then of course there are going to be certain things that one's going to like over the other one. And that's to be understood. But you have to be willing to say, you know what? Because you have to be willing to say, you know what? You have to be willing to say, you know what? She likes to do this. It's something I don't particularly care for, but I'm going to go along with it. He likes to do this. It's not something I care to do, but I'm going to go along with it. That's the act of compromise. As long as it's something that no one gets hurt from, it's not something that's illegal, something that's going to hurt someone, you should be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to form the act of compromise. We're going to figure this out together. We're going to do a little bit of what you want to do. We're going to do a little bit of what I want to do. And we're going to make a good time out of it. Never in anybody's relationship should it be a one-sided situation. And I do. So if you can I think my message today is that make sure that that's not the person that you are. And make sure that if you see that person coming out inside of who you are, that you try to rectify it, that you that you look way into your heart, into your soul, and you try to figure out a way to fix that. It is very important that each and every one of us are able to be who we are, be accepted to be who we are, and like I said, I'm going through something right now, and it's very, very difficult for me because I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose who I am. I am very, very proud of the person that I am. When I think about how I was beat down, how I had to fight so hard to bring myself up, and how I really do like the me in myself. I don't feel like I want to be anybody else. I really, really like the me. So just make sure that you are treating anyone that's in your life with that respect of allowing them to be themselves. And make sure that before you can ask someone to allow you to be yourself, that you're allowing them to be themselves. This was a very strange video, and I've tried to record this video probably about 6 times this morning, and each time it just seemed to just go completely bonkers. But I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me through this video, and for just listening, because I think more than anything, this was one of those videos that I just needed someone to listen, and as well as I wanted to get a point out there, because I do feel that it's very important. And I do know that if you are a person that is, if you're, and you could be the opposite, you could be the me in the situation, you could be the person that's struggling with being accepted for being yourself, and you may feel like you're alone. Like I said, I don't have the answers. I wish I did. I have no clue. I have no clue whatsoever. I don't know what the answer to this is. I just know that I'm a person sitting here with a very strong emotion that I'm fighting to be myself, but I'm basically being ridiculed for being myself. So I don't know what the answer to it is, and maybe we can find the answer to it together. But again, like I said, if you're dealing with it, whether you're the person that is the person that you're not acknowledging your friendship, or a spouse, significant other, whatever, of them being themselves, or whether you're the person that is not being allowed to be yourself without being ridiculed, comment below. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out a way that we can make this go away. Let's figure out a way to where this doesn't have to be in our lives, that we can just, you know, we can get past this. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this at this point. Like I said, I don't know. This has been one of those interesting topics again. Like, but this is me. This is all me this time. This isn't someone that emailed me. This isn't someone that, you know, sent me a text message. This is me. This is an emotion that I'm dealing with head on right now. I'm struggling to survive and to be accepted for just being myself. And I happen to love myself. And I don't want to be anybody else. La, 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 la.